Welcome back to the Football Show in the company of Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville. And we hope to hear from Lee Bowyer. Lee, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Scotty. Sorry about that.
That's okay, no problem at all. Listen, I know you were listening into that Rafa Benitez chat as well. What kind of a manager are you?
An attacking one. I like to play from the back and move the ball quickly and high press. I guess the way I was as a player, very competitive. I want my teams to be competitive and try and play. So, I'm very attack-minded, I think.
Now, look, let's get to the on-the-field stuff. And if it's not off the field, it's on the field at Chelmsford at the moment. This time, 3 of your players soon to be out of contract. I think 3 of 9, including top scorer and best player Lyle Taylor, saying they won't play for Charlton this season. For those who don't know the situation, please explain why and also how the conversation went with him.
Because, Scotty, we had 15. We've got 15 players that finish on the 15th of June, at the end of June, sorry. And so for me moving forward as the manager, I need to know who's willing to play for the rest of the season. So I need to know now. So then what I done is I took it upon myself to say to the players, look, I want your honesty. I want you to step forward and let me know so I know what squad of players I have moving forward for the remainder of the 9 games. And that's what I done. I asked every player because everyone's in different situations and have different circumstances. So I asked the players individually who is prepared to play to the end of the season, and that's how it came about. So the 3 lads said that they're not going to play for the last 9 games.
Lee, how have you found that then as a manager? Because you just said before how competitive you were as a player. I mean, I can't get me head around that. I think certainly the one you mentioned in terms of Lyle Taylor's being, up and down the country with different clubs at times. I think he's obviously done really well for you at Charlton. His contract's up. He may have a big move coming. But the thought of sort of, for me, not being there for my teammates for the last, few games of this, or the last 9 or 10 games of the season, when it's not like you've got nothing to play for. I mean, there's huge issues here for the club. I mean, how have you found that for him as a manager?
It's a difficult situation, Carrie, I always revolt back to myself, and whenever I talk to the players, I think, right, what would I do? How would I cope with this situation? And if it was me, and I'm guessing all these lads on this call, we would all play to the end. You start something, you finish it. But Lyle's in a situation, and so are the other 2 lads, they've got different reasons. Lyle and Chris Solly, they're both the same. They're worried about getting injured, and Lyle's in a different situation regarding financial. He's going to earn money that he's never earned before. He's got a lot of clubs, from what I understand, that are queuing up, waiting to take him, and he's earned that. Like you said, he's been great for me. In the 2 years that he's been here, he's helped us get into the Championship. And his goals this season, when he was fit, has helped us still have a shout within staying in the league. So I half get it, why he's deciding to do this. But on the other hand, I find it difficult because I think I would play, and it's making my job a hell of a lot harder to stay in the division, because with Lyle Taylor in our side, we are a different side. There's no getting away from that. His goals has helped us. The first 6 games of the season before he went away on international duty and got injured, we didn't lose a game, and he scored in 5 of them. So he scored 5 goals in the first 6 games. So he is massive to us, and he knows it. Everybody knows it. But he has his own reasons, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can only ask the player. I can't force him to play, and that's what hurts me. Like I just can't control that situation,
Lee, are Charlton paying their players at this moment in time?
Yeah, everyone's been paid last month and the month before and so on. So everyone's getting paid. But he's worried, Gary, in case he gets this move that's going to secure him and his family.
Look, Lee, I'm tolerant of.
I always revolt back to myself, and whenever I talk to the players, I think, like, what would I do? How would I cope with this situation? And if it was me, and I'm guessing all these lads on this call, we would all play to the end. You start something, you finish it. But Lowell's in a situation, and so are the other two lads. You know, they've got different reasons. Lowell and Chris Solly, they're both the same. They're worried about getting injured, and Lowell's in a different situation regarding financial. He's going to earn money that he's never earned before. He's got a lot of clubs, from what I understand, waiting to take him, and he's been great for me in the 2 years that he's been here. He's helped us get into the Championship, and his goals this season, when he was fit, has helped us still have a shout within staying in the league. So I half get it why he's deciding to do this, but on the other hand, I find it difficult because I think I would play, and it's making my job a hell of a lot harder to stay in the division, because with Lowell Taylor in our side, we are a different side. There's no getting away from that. His goals has helped us. The first 6 games of the season before he went away on international duty and got injured, we didn't lose a game, and he scored in 5 of them. So he scored 5 goals in the first 6 games. So he is massive to us, and he knows it. Everybody knows it. But he has his own reasons, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can only ask to play. I can't force him to play, and that's what hurts me. Like, I just can't control that situation, you know.
Lee, are Charlton paying their players at this moment in time?
Yeah, everyone's been paid last month and the month before, and so on. So everyone's getting paid. But he's worried, Gary, in case he gets injured, because if he gets injured, he ain't going to get this move that's going to secure him and his family for the rest of his life, I guess.
Look, Lee, I'm tolerant of players' situations and understand, was part of the PFA for many, many years. And I think that, to be fair, if Lyle was a player that the club didn't want, they wouldn't pay him beyond June 30th. They'd say, no, you're out on your ear and go away and get your contract. So I get the fact that players could think in different ways. What I would say is that the Championship's about to resume on June the 20th, we were told in the last week or so. He actually has to play football till June 30th. He's contracted to play football till June 30th. My problem with Lyle's position is not with him is that he's contracted to play for your tomorrow and every day in this month up to June 30th. Why wouldn't he fulfil his contract? I understand the bit about beyond June 30th, because at that point he can do what he likes, but I'm struggling with the next 28 days. Why he's not fulfilling that?
Yeah, again, Gary, I would say go beyond that. Like, you've started this journey, if you like, from day one when I come in. Finish the journey, but them 3 games, Gary, if he was to play in them 3 games, there's 3 games left in June if we start left on the 20th. If we start on the 20th, then them 3 games, if we won them 3 games, which is a possibility, then that could keep us in the division. But if you've got someone that their head ain't going to be in the right place, and they're not going to be the same player, and not try as hard because of worried of getting injured, then there's no point. Like for me, there's no point him being there if his heart isn't going to be there and he isn't going to be the same player. Then there's no point. But if he was to play for them 3 games, it could be a massive difference to us. Massive difference.
Yeah. So I mean, look, not to step into what areas of confidentiality, but I take it that the club has stopped paying him for this month and that he's in breach of contract. So obviously you're fining him for his wages.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know. That's not to do with me. That's behind the scenes. I know that someone went to the PFA yesterday and asked a question. But I wasn't aware of that. But yeah, I'm guessing something will happen along the line somewhere. But he could easily get around that, Gary. He could come in and say, okay, I'm going to train and I'm going to play for the remainder of the games, the 9 games. And then when you get 2 days before Hull away on that first fixture, then could say, no, I'm not going to play. I'm injured, or I've got a backache, or I've got this, I've got that, and then can get around it. That there's obviously ways that you can get around it. I've played with players that have had one injury and then was meant to come back to training, and then he said, oh, I've got a different injury now. And you're like, hold on, you ain't even trained. How can you pick up a different injury when you haven't even trained? So that's what could happen, but would it be wrong? Yeah, of course it would. But again, these are things that I can't control.
Lee, I think it's been well documented that it's only in the last, well, certainly the last game that you went into the bottom 3, but you weren't in great form. Another club who have been in the bottom 3 for a lot of the season is Wigan, who are on great form. Do you actually see the situation now? You've actually come out of that. It almost feels like a new season, that it may be different now for teams. It won't be, obviously, I don't think it's a case of who's informed. Do you think it actually plays to your advantage, really, in some ways, that you've almost had that break and you're not coming in on these last sort of 9 or 10 games on the back of that poor run that you were on?
Yeah, we was on a poor run, Cara, but the reason why we was on that poor run is because we had
None of your players wanted to play.
Months. Yeah, we had double figure injuries for months. Like Scotty used to come to our games, and we was playing like 16-year-old kids. We had a 16-year-old kid play against West Brom. So we was playing on. We had to bring back 23s, like the under 23s that was on loan at non-league clubs. We had to bring them back from loan and to go and play in the Championship, and they tried but they was at their depth, and it wasn't really fair on them. But we had no other option. That's why we was on that bad run, and we just started to get everybody fit. And I think when we played Middlesbrough, everybody was back fit then. And but when everyone comes back, they all seem to come back roughly around the same time. They was all out for like 10, 12, 14 weeks. So they all started to come back at the same time, which was great. So our starting 11 was good, but then the players, we had to bed them in, so they could only play 20 minutes, then 45 minutes, then 60 minutes. So by the time we played Middlesbrough, we was just getting them all back up to speed. So we would have been fine. I think if we'd have carried on, we would have started to pick up more points. We went to Forest and beat them there. So we started to pick up more results. But yeah, now I think other teams who had a lot of injuries, Hull comes to mind because that was our next game. They had the whole of their back 4 out. So that's why I think they was on a bad run at the time as well. So, is this break come at a good time for us? Maybe you could look at it like that, so we can get them all back up to speed. But yeah, I think it might have benefited other clubs more so than us.
Lee, you've gone public, I think, a couple of times in the situation in the last couple of months about, I think, points per game, about whether the league should continue at different times. I mean, is that still a big worry for teams in the Championship or any league, that if there is a second wave of COVID-19, that the league would be decided on points per game? And is that something that you're dead set against?
Yeah, the reason why I done that, Caro, to go public, because for me that wasn't the right way to decide. And I wasn't just saying it because we was in the bottom three. I'd have said it the week before. Like the week before, Middlesbrough was in there, and if we'd have won our next game against Hull the next day, then we would have been out in the bottom three again. It wasn't because we was in the bottom three. I just thought that that's the wrong way to decide whether you go up or down. If you signed up to play a 46 game season, then you should finish that. And if you don't, then you start again. But we ain't there now. I do honestly believe that we're finished the season now. I think we're all doing testing now. Clubs are paying a lot of money to do this testing. So I do believe that we're get up and playing again, and we're finished the season, which is the right thing to do. Listen, if we're in the bottom three after the 46 games, then we deserve to go down. There's no getting away from that. I will never say, oh yeah, because of this, because of that. Even that Lowell's not going to play, I won't use that as an excuse. I've got 23 good players that want to fight and want to play. So now it's down to me to work with them, make sure they're ready for the first game. And then if we don't succeed in what we want to do in the standing division, then I'll take full responsibility for that.
Lee, just going back to those lads that don't want to play, I think, we've never been in the situation that those lads have been in before, so I think we have to accept their personal decisions. My disappointment actually is the fact that they're not fulfilling the contracts. That to me is a disappointment as a football player. I think beyond the contract, absolutely make any decision you want. But coming on to the games that you've got left, do you think it actually could galvanise you from a point of view of a squad and bringing you together and closer? The fact that you this siege mentality where it looks like you sort of us against the world type thing. We've lost our best players. 3 don't want to play. We're in the bottom 3. Are you using that as a potential advantage?
Yeah, I've always done that though, Gary. I've always said that, I'll bring us together as a group. I think that was a big part of the reason why we got promotion last year. No one expected us to be in the top 6, and we managed to get promotion. So I'm very big on that, bringing the group together, and you're one big family. I'm guessing you guys at Man U, you would have been the same, and you, Cara, at Liverpool. You don't become successful from having a group of people that ain't together. So yeah, I would say that's a big part of us, and not even just that, lads. I think what's going on off the field, I think that's something that I use as well, because that's something that's going on behind the scenes, and we're not in control of that. And I'll make the players I'll make them aware of what's going on, and not to let it affect us. And we have to stick together and do what we do best, and that's fight for every point.
I was going to ask you, Lee, about that as well. What is happening with the never-ending saga of the ownership? Because the players can shield themselves away from that, get information from you, but you have to deal up as well as down at the moment, don't you?
Yeah, Scotty, well, you know the club. It's a great club. The fans are unreal. When they want to play their part, they play their part, and I feel for them more than anybody, because they obviously wanted Rolona for whatever reason. And when that was the case, I said publicly a few times, like, you have to be careful what you wish for. And as it stands today, it's a hell of a lot worse than when Rolon was in charge. I can assure you that. And it's disappointing because it's a good club. I won't go into details, but the club is not in a good position at the moment, Scott, behind the scenes. I think that everybody can see that from the outside, that there's been things that have been said in the public eye on social media, back and forth, and it's not good. And then the players can feed off that, and going back to what Gary was saying, like, that the players see that, and then it's an excuse. The last thing I want is for people to make excuses. There is no excuses. When you're on the football pitch, you try your hardest and you give everything you got for the shirt you're wearing. And so that's what I try to do, just to try and keep them away from what's going on off the field. So, But it's disappointing, Scotty, because it's a good club, you know, and it's not in a good place. Like, I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay, well, let's talk about good times and when you were on the football pitch up to a certain left back. But look, move come about, and did you feel comfortable straight away there?
Yeah, I was only young, wasn't I, Scotty? So I was 17 when I first started playing with yourself, and then moved on to Leeds at 19, and it was a big move for me. I was only, I say I was only young. I was 19, and I couldn't do anything, you know. Like I lived at home with my parents, and my mum, like, I was fortunate. She'd done everything for me: cooking, cleaning, ironing, you know, like everything. And then I had to move up north, which seemed like the other end of the earth to me. I was a young London boy, and I moved up north, and yeah. But as a football club, wow, it opened my eyes. Like, it went from one level to another. Talk about support, like the Leeds fans. Wow, it was a completely different experience for me, and I settled in quite well when I went there. I scored on my debut, and we won the game, and I settled in quite well. But then we played. Howard Wilkinson took me there, and then we played Man U. Gary, I don't know if he was playing in the game, and then, well, to be fair, we got hammered. But
yeah,
with about 4-1,
4-0, yeah,
4-0, and yeah, we
yeah, I
got
think it was
hammered,
4-0.
and
No.
yeah, and I got an eye injury in that game, and it wasn't good. Like, I couldn't see out of my eye, and it was more like a boxer's injury, and the ball just rebounded and hit me in the face, and then I was out for maybe 8-10 weeks.
Oh. Elbow. My elbow, was it? No.
No, it wasn't your elbow. No, it wasn't. I would rather have that. And then I just remember being on the floor, and then the physio coming on and saying, like, "You okay?" And I was like, "No, I can't see." Like, I literally couldn't see out of my eye. And he said, "What do you mean?"
Did he tell you to go and drive your car to test your eyesight?
Well, I was banging trouble. So so then I got that injury, and then I was out for a while. And then George, I was laying in the bed. Like, I'll never forget it. I was laying in the bed, and I woke up after the anaesthetic, and that George Howard Wilkinson had left. He'd left, and I was thinking, okay, I'm 19, I might be blind, I might not be able to play again. Where am I going to go from here? So that was only.
I do remember that game because I think you just signed Lee Sharp from us. Actually, I think I was playing directly against him. Is that right? That's the game, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. Sharpie came as well at that time, and Ian Rushy came in the same summer. So yeah.
You mentioned about the ownership.
I just wanted to ask you as part of it. Sorry, guys, give us a blow. You mentioned about the Leeds team. You started it, but the really good Leeds team with David O'Leary in the Champions League. And I just wanted to ask you how close you thought that team was to maybe going on and winning the league or the Champions League, and also what happened with that move to Liverpool that fell through.
Where do I start? So the Leeds side, we was a good side. Like, we didn't really, in my eyes, have superstars. Like you lads, you had your outstanding players that can win you games from nothing. But we competed well, and I think a strong point of our game was the physical side of the game. We was very competitive. We had a young side, and we could compete, and we surprised teams. And once we had that side, we always done well against like the big boys. And there was one season, I think it was like 2002, 1-2-2, one of them. Seems like a lifetime ago now. But we was flying and we was at the top for a long period of time, but then we just run out of steam. But yeah, we was a good side and we should have won something. We should have done. Like it was disappointing to come away from there and not to win anything. Not to win anything at all was really disappointing.
You're not leaving the Liverpool
Lee,
bit out, are you?
I was trying to avoid that, James. That still hurts me now. So, I was trying to miss that one out. So yeah, so the Liverpool thing, I was there, Cara. Like I was in the middle of a medical. I was halfway through my medical, and then I'm just going to contradict myself. I've said this so many times, and this is the one thing that I regret in football is not going to Liverpool. Looking back now. But I was halfway through the medical and I thought, right, I've been up north for nearly 7 years now with Leeds. I think it was 6 years at the time. And then Liverpool obviously wanted to sign me and they wanted to sign me for 5 years. And I was thinking, wow, look, this is even like further, I think, from where I'm from. And then I was thinking, do I want to move even further away from home? And then, Carrie, you hear all rumours behind the scenes of, it's really strict there. You can't even talk in a warm-up and you can't even do this and you can't even do that. and I was thinking to myself, do I want to go there? And so, and in the end, I thought, you know what, this just don't seem, something just didn't sit right with me. And then I thought, no, do you know, this ain't the right place for me to be. If I could reverse the clock now, then I would 1,000,000% have made that move. Because you was a very good side, and I think I would have suited the way you played. I think I would have fitted in well, but yeah, it disappoints me. It disappoints me. Like looking back now, I should have made that move, but we all make decisions, and it makes you the person you are now. You know.
You wouldn't have won anything there either.
Did you not win the Champions League? Not long after, Harry, you won the Champions League not long after, did you?
Not just the Champions League, the greatest ever one.
Yeah, see? I could have been part of that.
We've taken up enough of your time. Listen, you know Charlton is a club that's very close to my heart. Good luck there. 2 years must feel like 20 years of management, but thank you very much for joining us and good luck this season.
Thanks, Lee.
Man. Take care, yeah? Thank you.
Thanks, Lee.
Cheers, man.
Okay, in our final part, we go to League One and speak to the Peterborough owner, Darren McAntony.